going to be breaking down Trump's tax cuts. A lot of you guys probably won't believe this, especially Democrats and stuff like that. But I actually had a huge debate on this on my channel already when I debated the Harris supporter recently this week. So we had like a huge debate on it, and he tried to make a claim that Trump's tax cuts only help the rich, which truly they disproportionately, help the rich, but saying that they only help the rich is just completely false because people that are making 50,000 a year, 60,000 a year, 70,000 a year, all the way up to like 150,000 a year, then it's in the next tax bracket or whatever. I mean, I'll read over the tax brackets when we get some people in. But people that make it only 50,000 a year, they're gonna get like $2,000, $3,000 in tax deductions now in the following tax year, because I read the Trump 2025 tax policy, and yes, it does. The people that pay the most taxes are the wealthy, and the people that they don't pay the highest percentage. But if we're talking about money wise, they if we're talking about actual physical, like how much they pay, like millionaires, sometimes they pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes. So technically, they pay more taxes than the middle class and stuff like that. But the middle class, even the lower class, the poor class, they're getting a tax reduction too. I mean, for people making under 30,000 a year, they don't get the biggest tax reduction, but they still get a tax reduction under Trump, which is not at all what the Harris supporter was claiming, and a lot of other Democrats claim that there's no tax cuts for the lower and middle class, which is false. And not to mention, he tried to say that it actually increases the taxes on the middle and lower class, which is completely a lie. And you can look it up, the new tax system too, if you want. I'm going to show it in a second when a few more people join in. And I'll read off of it and tell you guys about it. But another thing I wanted to talk about was Abrego Garcia. So I was reading about the immigration statute and stuff like that. A lot of people have a misconception thinking that he was an American-born citizen or that he was an American citizen. He was a green card holder and a visa holder, and he had, Abrego Garcia had a non-removal order, which is all true. But here's a fun fact. I was reading the immigration statute. If anyone wants to read the immigration statute, they can. I'll tell you exactly the immigration statute. But the thing about the immigration statute, it is for anyone that has a student visa, a green card, a work visa, any kind of visa that's not permanent residency, or that's not a natural-born citizen, they can be removed just from suspicion of terrorism activities or suspicion of terrorist activities or terrorist organizations, or just for suspicions of safety concerns against the country. Now, they don't need to go to trial. They don't need to be found guilty to have the deportation order. But everyone, this is where people really get confused at. They think when they say fair due process, his fair due process isn't going to court to battle each of these charges one by one. It's not the same. It's not the same system for green card holders and visa holders as it is for U.S. citizens. So really, all he needed was to go to a court hearing, which he would be screwed anyway, because like I just said, they don't need actual proof of his gang membership. They just need suspicion of his gang membership, and they just need suspicions of safety concerns, which I can already say there's a bunch of safety concerns for Abrego Garcia, him beating his wife, him getting pulled over and possibly looking like he's a human trafficker. El Salvador is one of the best things that happens for age is the fear that's is beginning people to actually believe a little better. Yeah, as I was saying, the immigration statute doesn't say anything about finding a person guilty of their terrorist crimes, terrorist organization, or terrorist affiliation. They don't have to find them guilty of that. All they need to do is give them legally. This is why the Trump team said they were wrong. It's not because they didn't bring him to trial to beat all his charges, to fight his charges of immigration and stuff like that. It's because he was supposed to go to court to have a hearing about his deportation, which the hearing would have done nothing. Like I said, he would have been deported anyway. All they need is suspicion of gang activity or MS-13 membership. All they need is suspicion. Not even suspicion, they need concern. Sorry, suspicion isn't even the right word. They need concern of being in a terrorist organization like MS-13. They don't even need reasonable suspicion. They don't need real proof. They don't need to find you guilty. They don't need to take you to trial. None of those rights apply for illegal immigrants that entered the United States. And he's not an American citizen. He never was. He was just on a green card and on a visa. He does not have the American nationality. I don't care what any Democrats say. It's the truth. Unless you have a permanent citizenship here that lets you live the rest of your life without renewing your visa or green card, that's not a permanent citizenship, being on a visa or a green card. And second off, yeah, I just explained that he didn't have to go to court for all of those crimes and all those charges he was facing to be deported. All we had to do was have reasonable concern. That would have been considered due process. We didn't have to actually bring him to court, find out if he was a gang member. All we had to do was have reasonable concern that he might be in a terrorist organization or reasonable concern of the safety of the country. And Homeland Security did find reasonable concern. The only place they messed up was they forgot to give him the immigration hearing. But a hearing is not the same thing as a fair trial. A hearing is not the same thing as due process. A hearing just means they bring him. He would have his own lawyer. But what is his lawyer going to say? Oh, he's not an MS-13 member? Well, we already have reasonable concern. All we need is reasonable concern to deport him. We don't need to find him guilty of being an MS-13 member. We already have reasonable safety concern for the community because he's been accused of beating his wife even though he didn't get found guilty, but we still have reasonable concern of it. And if you read the immigration statute, which I'll pull up the immigration statute since a lot of people are going to be questioning me about it, I will absolutely pull up the immigration statute. Also, the tax cuts are for anyone that makes under 200K and down. Yeah, there are tax cuts for anyone making under 200K and down, but the tax cuts are also for the corporations. No, I 100% agree though. The tax cuts are helping the middle class a lot. People that are only making $50,000 a year are going to get like $3,000 off their taxes. The title was a little bit clickbait, but yeah, I absolutely believe Trump is helping the middle class with the taxes. Even people that barely make any money under $30,000 a year, they're still going to get $500 tax cuts. That still can help a person that's poor, that's not making the most money. If they're only making $20,000 or $15,000 a year and they have to live in the U.S. somewhere, that $500 is really going to help them. Yeah, he's getting a trial in El Salvador where he's a citizen. That's a great point. I just explained to everyone he's not due a trial by the actual immigration statute. I read it myself yesterday. And the immigration statute says that he was never needed a trial. The only thing that he missed out on, the only process he missed out on, which isn't even a due process because it's not the same process as Americans get, is that he missed out on the immigration hearing. The immigration hearing would have just told him he's being deported. So what's the big deal? Why are people crying and making this a big thing? Now here's the proof. Here it is. Concerns relating to national security of terrorism can be significant grounds. Concerns. It doesn't say convictions. It says a criminal conviction is not needed. So a criminal conviction is not needed for green card holders, which are permanent residents, I guess, technically, but they're not, they don't have like the same status. They don't have the same thing as the United States people that were naturally born there. That's just it's basically a green card or a visa that can be revoked. All he needed was a court hearing. That's the only place they messed up at. He was never going to go to court in the United States to fight these charges. He was never going to, battle these charges and beat them and win. He was just going to go to the court hearing for his deportation, basically. And they were going to tell him, oh, sorry, we have suspicion of you being, concerns of you being a national security threat or a terrorist. He never needed to go to, he was never going to get to, it's a beautiful day outside, but right now I'm coming live from Europe, so it's already 11, and the day is already gone by, so. Oops, sorry, I was trying to turn on more lights. Yeah, they don't need to go to court. The only thing he was going to have is an immigration hearing, which basically tells him he's getting deported. But hit the like and subscribe button. He never was going to get a fair, speedy trial or whatever the hell you want to say that normal United States citizens get. Because according to this, they don't even need to find him guilty. A criminal conviction is not required. Concerns related to national security or terrorism can be significant grounds to be canceled or revoked, even without conviction. So he would have never gone to court. The Democrats don't even realize this. They think that this guy was actually going to go to court, fight these charges, and beat them and win. That was never going to happen. Just because he's in the country doesn't mean he's going to get the same process as United States citizens. Now, I'm going to show you guys the actual statute so you guys can look it up yourself, because I don't want anyone saying, oh, yada, yada, yada. Here's the actual immigration statute right here. Yes, the authority to revoke green cards and visas based on concerns is written into the U.S. law. Here's how it works. Activities that endanger the public. Membership in certain organization. Terrorist activities. Now listen, the Democrats really hate to see this, but the statute is right here. Nothing about conviction, nothing about nothing, just concern. Just concern. The only place that the Trump administration messed up at is they were supposed to give a quick day hearing to let this man know that he's going to be deported that day. That's all they didn't do. And because they messed up because of that, they said they would even take him back. But El Salvador said themselves they're not sending him back because he's an illegal criminal, and they don't want to send illegal criminals back. Yes, I agree with you, Jay. The system is a little bit slow and corrupt. It should happen a lot faster. I'm sorry it took you 3.5 years. But I'm happy that you agree with me. You're a green card holder, Jay. You agree with everything I'm saying. You're smart enough to know that the U.S. government can decide if you're going to be staying in the country or not. They don't need to find you a conviction or anything like that. All they have to do is have reasonable suspicion. Not even reasonable, because reasonable suspicion implies that they have to have evidence. They don't have to have evidence. All they have to do is have concern that you might be in a terrorist organization or that you might be a danger to the society. Yes, thank you, Jay, for working hard to get your green card. Everyone's saluting Jay. We already got 2 or 3 people that are saluting Jay because that's what I'm saying. Not only are you going to get the guilt off your back of not having the U.S. Customs and the U.S. Homeland Security on your back, you're also going to have other American citizens congratulating you for doing a good job and actually doing it the legal way. Listen, I know what it's like to be an immigrant. I've immigrated to 2 countries, and I always try to do it legally every single time. I'm never trying to break the laws or anything like that. So I know what the feeling is. Okay, but what if they're running from actual criminals, buddy? Then they can apply for asylum, but they don't enter the country. They are not allowed to enter the country under Trump until their asylum has been granted. Listen, people are running from criminals inside the United States, and they can't get asylum like 80% of the time. 90% of the time, they're going to laugh at you if you tell them you're running from criminals inside the United States. Some judges are blocking deportations. That's wrong. I got bad news for them. Tom Homan said the other day he's going to be arresting any of these, not judges, but he's going to be arresting governors and people like that are hiding immigrants and housing illegals and telling people not to give them up. God bless Donald Trump. Hit the like and subscribe button, guys. Hit the like and subscribe button. I like your comment, but too bad you deleted it. Now, do you guys want to hear about the new Trump tax cuts? He's giving tax cuts. You can look it up yourself. This is not a lie. Tax cuts for the middle class and the lower class. Now, listen. Of course, the rich get more tax cuts or higher tax cuts because they pay more money. But I think it should be a little bit more fair. You can argue that all you want, but the lie that we cannot spread is that the Trump isn't helping the middle class and the lower class. Trump for Pope. Listen, the Democrats are lying. They've always said the same line. They don't even research the tax cuts. They don't even know what the tax system is. And they're trying to tell us, oh, Trump only gives tax cuts to the ultra rich. Well, what about the people that made $50,000 this or making $50,000 this year? They're going to get a $3,000 tax cut. That ain't ultra rich. That's middle class. Prices aren't going up. What prices are going up? Eggs are cheaper. Gas is cheaper. The taxes are lowering for middle class and lower class. I just said people that are making $50,000 a year. Listen, guys, I will pull up the tax cuts right now. Let's ask ChatGPT, Trump's tax cuts. And if you don't believe in ChatGPT, I'll show you the sources it's using, and you can look up the Trump tax cuts yourself. First off, the first tax cuts that Trump put, Biden never touched them. Second off, the new Trump tax cuts are even better than the last ones. And this is just the beginning. He's going to get rid of a crazy Democrat tried to say that the tax cuts on Social Security mostly helps the ultra rich. Well, if you're already retired and have millions of dollars and you receive a tax cut on your Social Security, yeah, that helps you more than the poor. But how is that their fault? It helps the poor, I would argue, more because the poor need that money. People that are living on $1,000 Social Security check a month, that's all the money they have in the world. They don't need to be paying taxes on that, and Trump is going to help with that. Well, I don't know if you know what even ChatGPT does, but it sources its information probably from your favorite liberal news networks. So I can look it up anywhere. The information is the same. You can look it up on CNN. What's Trump's tax cuts 2025? Middle, lower class, upper class, every single class gets a cut. Nope, you're wrong, Kiwi. He's not being pressured to consider tax cuts for the middle class. It's already been passed. The Trump 2025 tax cuts have already been passed, so you're wrong again. You want to see the Trump tax cuts? Okay. I'm showing you the source. Give me a second. I'm pulling up. Thank you, Jay, for thanking our armed service members. Shout out to all the armed service members. And even Trump's first terms, his first tax cuts helped the middle class too. To be fair, I'm not 100% sure if they have passed yet, but I'm pretty sure. But I'll just be honest about it. Okay, they've been approved, but they haven't been put into law yet. But to be honest, it's not in the next fiscal year. So maybe passed isn't the right word, but they've been approved by legislation. But I can even show you, they've been approved though, Kiwi. And what about the Trump tax cuts before then? His first tax cuts that Biden never got rid of, they also helped the middle class and the lower class. Well, that's crazy. I never heard of a socialist for Trump. Constitutional Chris. Hit the like and subscribe button if you guys are new here, though. I don't want a mega moderator. Yep, I can agree with you. Maybe Trump is a narcissist. Maybe he's such a narcissist he wants to be the best president in history. No, you're wrong. No Trump tax cuts have been passed. It's all in one giant bill. No ultra-rich tax cuts have been passed, buddy. You're an idiot. The ultra-rich tax cuts are in the same bill as the regular people tax cuts. Should we ask him about? Yeah, let's say, what's Trump's proposed tax cuts for 2025? Does it help the middle and lower class? What's the percentage? Now listen, I think it's only about a 2 or 3% tax cut for the middle class. But hey, that's better than nothing. He's working on abolishing those taxes. Lower income householding, the bottom 20% of earners might experience an average decrease of 10%. And after yeah, it's only been 100 days. I love how they act like it's been so many days since Trump's been president. They wish it's been like 3 years and sometime, but it hasn't. Do not forget, every Democrat rep voted no on no tax on overtime, Social Security, and tip. First off, it's none of your business if I have a 401k, but if you do have a 401k, I hope you bought in the dip. It was a great buying opportunity. People never make money in the stock market or in 401ks buying at all-time highs. I mean, they do eventually in like 5 or 6 years, but when there's a dip, you can start making money real quick. Trump will stop all injustices in the world. Absolutely. Hit the like and subscribe button. No surrender. Every single stream I've pretty much had my Trump hat on. Today I really don't got it. In the last 3 streams I've been wearing it. So I kind of feel it's only right I grab it real quick and throw it on. What do you guys think of Sir Trumpington? Hit the like and subscribe button, guys. Yep. I hope Trump will cut tax on tips forever, guys.